Hey guys, so in this video we're going to be sharing with you the formation that you need to be using in FIFA 23. Now a question that I get asked a lot is what is the best formation in the game? And obviously in the last video we did show you one of the last tactic video that we did, we showed you the 5-2-1-2, and that is for me one of the best two formations in the game. And today I'm going to be sharing with you the second and kind of an alternate formation. This is another formation that I believe is the best in the game, and it is the 4-2-2-2. So to make light of the situation, to me there is two best formations in the game. It is the 5-2-1-2 showed you in the last video, and this is kind of almost like a part 2 alternate. If you don't want to use a 5 back, this is then, I would say, an alternate formation to that. So as always, show your support, make sure you drop a thumbs up, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and make sure you turn on those notifications bells so that you know when we make new videos. So the 4-2-2-2 is a sensational formation. It is one of the most used formations in the game, and just the instructions, the tactics, the blend that we've got going, it is just saucy, man. It is just so good. We create so many chances. It's just one of those formations that's just easy to play with. A lot of formations you try and they're quite difficult and they don't quite work, or they work for a bit and then they stop. This for me is one of those formations that just works any time of the year, any situation. It's just one of those easy formations to use. So if you are someone that's looking for a formation, this is one that you should always have in your game plan or somewhere. When it comes to the tactics, these are the tactics that I like to use for the 4-2-2-2. So of course, balanced on the defensive style, I like to go for 40 on the width and 60 on the depth. Obviously, my play style is very possession oriented, it's very pass oriented, so I can afford to play a slightly higher depth. Occasionally, when you play against like the super sweaty players, yeah, sometimes the depth and whatnot and the direct passing, as we'll get onto in a little bit, that kind of does pull you out, you know, makes you open to the counter attack every now and then. But when you play nine games out of 10, it's no problem. It's just occasionally against that super sweaty that's got the Jorginhos, it's got the player of the month Mbappe's, that proper hardcore no lifer. Yeah, maybe you struggle, but generally speaking, you don't really have too much trouble with this combo. And especially the slow build up and the direct passing again. Sometimes the direct passing can catch you out against that real sort of no lifer. But generally speaking, you create so many chances. And one thing that a lot of people don't do is when you get in a game, you get 2-0 up using this sort of situation, all you need to do is just have a second tactic, whether it be on the defensive tab or defensive game plan tab, whatever, and just maybe have a slightly more defensive setup. So just take the direct passing off, for example, and maybe just turn it to possession. So now your players are not going to be making those constant runs in behind. You're going to be a lot more solid because you're not going to have people running in behind and defensive midfielders and fullbacks and all that potentially getting out of position. You just have a more solid formation so that you don't need, when you 2-0 up, you don't need to keep attacking. You don't need to keep, everyone running in behind and giving your opponent chances. You just sort of turn that off and go to a little bit more defensive. But generally speaking, we create so many chances. And then with the width, we go for around about 60. Pretty standard for this sort of formation. Your cams, your fullbacks do need to provide a little bit of width, but obviously it's not a naturally wide formation. You don't have wingers, you don't have wide midfielders. So you don't want to push players out wide that aren't there. You don't want to open that midfield up because this formation does play quite narrow. The two cams that we do use on free roam, so those guys do need the ability to drift wide, which means they need to have pace. But generally, that strength comes from the middle, comes from the build up through in the middle of the pitch and those close passing options. And then players in the box, we have those guys on 5. Again, the instructions are very, very important. Probably I would say, like I said, a lot of formation vids, the instructions are more important than anything. They kind of really dictate how a formation goes. So that really dictates who goes in the box and who doesn't. Corners we have on 3. We do have a little bit of a corner video coming up. We know that's something that's been asked for a lot, so we do have something in the works for that we are going to incorporate in a future video. And then free kicks on 1. So before we get into the instructions, if you enjoyed the video and you do want to see more, make sure you drop a thumbs up and make sure you let us know in the comment section any other videos that you would like us to cover going forwards. So let's jump back and look at the instructions. So pretty standard as always when it comes to the keeper and the defenders. The keeper, of course, is going to be on comes to crosses and sweep keeper. We tend to control our keeper a lot using that triangle button, so that kind of really gives us a big benefit when it comes to stopping those one-on-one chances. Of course, the two centre backs, Smalling and Maldini, both these guys are so good, man. That pairing of Smaldini is just so good. Both on stay back while attacking. Of course, they need to sit deep and not get too forward. You can have these guys on conservative as well. Something that I don't think is really necessary, especially in this formation. A little bit more needed in the 5-back formation because you do have the full-backs going forwards, so that you want the centre backs being a bit more defensive. But in this case, we have the two fullbacks staying back. Don't want these guys going forwards. And that's when, in this formation, you don't need the fullbacks. Like in the 5-back formation, the wingbacks are the ones that get forwards and do a lot of attacking. They're very paramount to the attacking in that formation. You don't need the fullbacks to go forwards in this formation. It's not really needed for that way. So it's always best to have these guys on stay back while attacking. I like to have them on overlap as well, just so it makes sure the through ball up the wing is a little bit more difficult for people to make. Then when it comes to the two defensive midfielders, got both these guys on cut passing lanes, both on stay back while attacking and cover centre. And another thing that I really like recently is to have them both on deep lying playmaker. Now, this really works very, very well. It's not quite as effective when you're on direct passing, but certainly when you're on something like possession, when you switch off that direct passing once you got that 2-0 lead, deep lying playmaker is so effective, especially for me, because I like to play obviously that very heavy passing and possession orientated game. It's so good for passing. Like you always have a player open. Even when people are pressing you, these guys do such a good job at getting open. So you're just always able to keep the attacks moving. You're never really stuck for someone to pass to. You're always able to move the ball and keep the attack flowing. So that's something I really recommend trying out. Then, of course, like we said, the two wide cams, so Mane and Vanderson, both these guys, of course, going to be on get into the box, and that was important because we said the instructions dictate who go into the box. So the two wide cams are on get into the box, the two DMs are stay on edge of the box. Don't want the DMs getting in the box, do want the wide cams getting into the box, of course. When one guy has the ball on the left, you want the other one, of course, getting into the box, giving you an extra body, giving you an extra option to pick out for a cutback, for a cross, whatever it may be, just so you've got an extra body in there to try and score. And then the two strikers, Ben Yedder and Diego Forlan. Now, generally speaking, we like this combo. We've got the stay central on both of them, but your quickest striker wants to be on getting behind, and the one that's a little bit more technical, the one that's a better dribbler, the one that's a better passer, that one wants to be on false nine. It doesn't matter if they're on the right or the left, that doesn't really matter, but you want one of them on that false nine combo. So you've got one guy, it makes it a little bit easier to link up. That's one of the things that's quite difficult sometimes in this formation, especially when the two DMs are sitting deep. That's why we have the direct passing. But when you turn that off, it can be quite difficult to attack. If someone that doesn't like the direct passing, this is really good. It just allows that link up. Now, he doesn't necessarily drop in and be a cam. It just sometimes drifts, sometimes to the right, sometimes to the left to link up with Mane. Sometimes he comes short. It just makes it a little bit easier because on occasion, it can be quite difficult to link up, for example, from the DM to the striker. There's sort of maybe a 25, 30 yard gap. And so that you don't force that pass in there, if you have one guy on false nine, it just makes it an easier 5 to 10 yard pass. So you're not trying to force passes. And like we said in our attacking videos, you don't want to try and force passes that aren't there. So, this just gives you that option so that you don't have to force that really unlikely pass forwards. But that is it for this formation, and it is stellar. Like we said at the start of the video, the 5-2-1-2, the 4-2-2, very difficult for me to pick between those two formations, which one I think is better. I get that question asked a lot, and for me, they're both as good as each other. I like using both of them, for different reasons. They're both very, very good. I've used this one a little bit more. The 5-2-1-2 I just think is so fun as well with the wing back. So they're very different, but they're both super effective. So I'd recommend having both of them on your instructions. Like for me, I have the 4-2-2 on my attacking tab, and I have the 5-2-1-2 on my ultra attacking tab, just so I can switch between the two in game and just have a lot of fun depending on the situation. So as we said in the beginning of the video, if you want to see more videos, make sure you drop a thumbs up, make sure you click that subscribe button, and make sure you click that notifications bell so you know when we release new videos. And as always, if you have any questions, make sure you join the Discord. The link to that is down in the description. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the